You've probably heard the jokes. Maybe you've even told a few yourself. The one about how you can always tell someone is vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. Or the meme about vegans ruining barbecues, or the sitcom character who's mocked because she brings tofu to a dinner party. For some reason, vegan has become less of a diet and more of a punchline. But why? Why does the word vegan carry so much baggage? Nobody rolls their eyes if you say you're lactose intolerant. Nobody mocks someone for being gluten-free anymore. Yet somehow, when the word vegan comes up, people smirk, groan, or even get defensive. Let's start with the obvious. Food is personal. What you eat isn't just fuel. It's identity, culture, comfort, and tradition. When you tell someone you don't eat meat, they don't just hear a dietary preference, they hear a challenge to their way of life. To them, it's as if you're saying, everything you enjoy, everything you were raised on, is wrong. Of course, most vegans don't mean that. But perception is powerful. Take the story of Sophie, a college student who decided to go vegan after watching a documentary about factory farming. She was horrified by what she saw, and the next day, she cleared her fridge and announced her new lifestyle. At school, though, things changed. Her friends who used to invite her out for burgers stopped asking. Her family rolled their eyes at Thanksgiving when she brought her own casserole. One cousin even said, "You think you're better than us now?" Sophie was shocked. She wasn't preaching, she was just eating differently. But to everyone else, her choice felt like a judgment. This is where the first layer of dislike comes from: the mirror effect. Vegans, simply by existing, hold up a mirror to others' habits. That mirror makes people uncomfortable. When you sit at a table and choose lentil stew over chicken, you don't have to say a word. Someone will still feel judged. Not because you said they were wrong, but because deep down, they know what's on their plate came from suffering or from systems harming the planet. And nobody likes being reminded of that when they're about to dig in. But that's not the whole story. Another reason people claim to dislike vegans is the stereotype of preachiness. Everyone has a story about that one vegan who lectured them at a barbecue, or sent them gruesome videos of slaughterhouses, or made them feel guilty for eating cheese. The stereotype is strong, so strong that even quiet, non-confrontational vegans get painted with the same brush. It's like if one loud tourist embarrassed themselves abroad, and suddenly everyone from that country was labeled obnoxious. It's unfair, but that's how stereotypes work. The irony, of course, is that many vegans are tired of the stereotype too. Most don't want to be the angry vegan. They just want to live their values without being ridiculed. But stereotypes stick. And so the dislike grows. If you zoom out a little, you start to see how much of the tension around veganism is really about the food. It is about culture and tradition. Food is how families bond, how communities celebrate, how nations tell their stories. When someone says they won't eat certain dishes, it can feel like they're rejecting more than a meal. It can feel like they're rejecting the people who made it. Think about holidays. Turkey on Thanksgiving in the United States. Roast pork at a Puerto Rican Christmas. Barbecue on the 4th of July. If you show up and say, "I don't eat that," you're not just saying no to food. You're saying no to ritual, to memory, to belonging. That's why Carlos, a Cuban-American father, once confessed that when his daughter announced she was vegan, he didn't just feel annoyed. He felt hurt. His family had roasted lechon for generations. It wasn't just dinner, it was identity. When his daughter refused to eat it, he worried. Was she refusing him too? And then there's psychology. Humans don't like being told they're wrong, even indirectly. When someone chooses a lifestyle that seems morally superior, saving animals, protecting the environment, it triggers defensiveness. It's not that people dislike vegans personally, they dislike what vegans represent, a challenge to the status quo. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, the discomfort of holding two conflicting ideas at once. I love animals and I eat animals don't sit well together. When a vegan walks into the room, that dissonance gets louder, and instead of facing it, many people project annoyance outward. It's easier to joke about vegans than to confront your own conscience. But dislike also comes from misunderstanding. Many people still believe myths about veganism, that it's joyless, that it's expensive, that it's a privilege reserved for yoga moms and hipsters. They don't know that rice and beans, the classic budget meal across Latin America, Asia, and Africa, is vegan. They don't know that most cultures have centuries-old plant-based dishes long before the word vegan existed. They don't realize that vegan food can be tamales, falafel, curry, injera, dal, sushi rolls, enchiladas, pho, all bursting with flavor. And let us be honest, the nobody likes vegans trope also survives because it is funny. Comedians get easy laughs out of vegan jokes. Sitcoms exaggerate the stereotype for humor. Memes travel faster when they're mocking someone. Humor works by exaggeration, and vegans have become an easy target. Even people who don't actually dislike vegans laugh along, because the stereotype is already familiar. The joke lives on, reinforcing itself. But here's the twist. Beneath the jokes and stereotypes, there's often respect. Ask someone privately, and they'll admit they admire the discipline. They'll say, "I could never give up cheese," but in the same breath, they'll acknowledge the courage it takes. Many critics of veganism secretly carry a seed of admiration, even if they mask it with sarcasm. So where does all this leave you? If vegans are mocked, misunderstood, and sometimes resented, is there any hope for changing the narrative? The answer is yes, but it requires looking beneath the surface of dislike to what's really going on. Remember Sophie, the college student who went vegan and felt isolated? Over time, she realized that her friends didn't hate her. They hated the awkwardness. Once she stopped apologizing for her choices and simply brought delicious food to share, things shifted. When her casserole became the most popular dish at Thanksgiving, the teasing turned into curiosity. Her cousin, the one who accused her of being judgmental, later asked for her chili recipe. The dislike melted when people saw joy instead of judgment. And Carlos, the Cuban-American dad, worried his daughter was rejecting tradition. Eventually, he sat down with her and realized she wasn't rejecting the family. She was reinventing the tradition. Instead of roast pork, she made yuca with mojo, black beans, and rice. She showed him that culture isn't defined by a single ingredient. It's defined by love, memory, and sharing. In time, he admitted he respected her conviction, even if he still loved his lechon. Here's the truth. Much of the "nobody likes vegans" sentiment comes not from genuine dislike, but from fear of change. People fear losing traditions, fear being judged, fear confronting uncomfortable truths. But as more people see veganism expressed with kindness, creativity, and flavor, those fears begin to fade. The culture is already shifting. Vegan restaurants are opening in every major city. Grocery stores are filled with plant-based alternatives. Celebrities, athletes, and everyday families are embracing the lifestyle. What was once mocked as extreme is slowly becoming normal. The jokes are still around, but they're starting to feel outdated, like making fun of seatbelts or recycling. And maybe that's the final irony. The reason people joke about vegans is because vegans are actually making an impact. If they weren't, nobody would care. Dislike is often just resistance to a change that feels inevitable. Today's nobody likes vegans might be tomorrow's everybody eats plant-based sometimes. So the next time someone rolls their eyes or cracks a joke, maybe the best response isn't anger, it's patience, humor, and of course, really good food. Because once people see that veganism isn't about taking things away, but about adding compassion, creativity, and flavor, they may realize something surprising. It's not that nobody likes vegans, it's that nobody likes being reminded to change. But give them time, give them kindness, give them a plate of jackfruit tacos, and suddenly, the story tastes a lot different.